Trying to write and get it right, but the fact is I wasn't yet equipped to take this fight. Let's talk polite with Shawbeam, and I don't care about your Montclair. We're living legacy, we've gone clear. I don't play these ladies talking about shit.
Affinity Xtra, be extra.
Highgate Gospel Choir have been described as one of the most popular choirs to come out of the UK, and formed back in 1979 under the directorship of Pamela McIntyre. So many stories of people talking about how this choir influenced, encouraged, empowered them to get into gospel for some people, and also to really to chart their story along the way of how they made it over. Back in the day, there was a young budding drummer by the name of Donavan Hepburn, who kind of, maybe he was, dare I say, holding on to the coattails of many of the choir members, and today has been responsible for the recording, the re-release of the old album, and also of the re-recording of a brand new release, the Legacy Project. And I'm so pleased to say, but I'm sitting here with the man himself. Listen, it's so good to talk to you.
Thanks, man. What an introduction.
So good to talk to you. And, you know, as I said, I'm really encouraged by some of the stuff I've been hearing from people talking about how, oh yeah, the choir were just dynamic. It was so inspirational. They really made people feel that power of God in terms of those concerts and those events that they were at. Mm-hmm. First of all, what a journey. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this re-release? So not even a re-release, but new recording.
I'm incredibly proud. I think if I was just to coin it in one word, I feel very godly proud of their achievement.
Yeah.
I feel a bit selfish in the sense of I've had the privilege of having a front row seat and seeing it all sort of unfold. I've been encouraged. I felt anxious, I felt a bit frightened, you know, a whole array of emotions that I've gone through throughout the process. But I think, you know, as the sort of baby brother to the choir,
yes,
the one that used to be the sort of 5-year-old mascot with his white patent shoes that they keep reminding me of, I'm like, it's been a real joy and privilege for me to be able to facilitate such an awesome thing, man. 40 years.
Brilliant.
You know, it's amazing, man.
I mean, just as a side note, is there a picture of the patent shoes we can put into a little clip on here?
No. No, there isn't. Yeah, there is.
As you said, 40 years, you got key family members in the choir, and you've experienced that firsthand, and maybe some of the changes, the emotions, the experiences. Did you ever go around with them, you know, maybe outside of town, or was it mainly locally that you were involved in that?
So that's the thing. It feels like one of those memories that's always been there.
Yeah.
But I can't pin it to one particular concert or one particular journey. It was just, it all felt like a whirlwind, because so I'm like the youngest of like 9 children, and sort of Saturday afternoons the house was just loud. When I think of my childhood, I'm just like, can somebody turn it down? So like on a Saturday, you know, the house would just be filled with pandemonium, music coming from all the different bedrooms and whatever. And then come sort of like 12:30, 1 o'clock, 5 of my siblings would just fly out the door.
Okay.
And I'm sort of sat there going, where are they going again? Yeah. And it just seemed like a perpetual cycle of load of noise, then them out the door.
Yeah.
And then I remember one instance when they came back, they had an LP, and I was like, there's my brothers and sisters on the front of this record. I'm like, family are rock stars, you know. But yeah, then after that, I started going with them, or got vague memories of going to London, or up to Manchester. But no one thing, just noise, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Great
memories.
Yeah, man.
Memories. And actually, it says so much about the family connection, doesn't it? How they interacted with each other.
Yeah.
I'm from a small family, so I can't really imagine being of a family of 9 children.
Loud.
It would have been quite hectic, right?
Yeah, to say the least.
Who's doing what? No, I want to go in the bathroom. No, it's my turn.
That's right.
I can imagine.
One bathroom, by the way. Yeah.
So maybe if nothing else, you guys learn about organisation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And to wait your turn.
Wait your turn.
And to be conservative with your time. Yeah, like a therapy session. Keep going, helping. But no, it was. There were great times, man. And yeah, those songs they form the backdrop of my childhood.
Yeah.
They were being played in the house, and it was pretty cool having siblings who were on a record.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey, and I think sort of coming to it now and seeing them reconnect with old friends, and some of them hadn't seen each other for best part of 30 years.
Yeah.
So sort of seeing them all together in close proximity with all the same jokes and the new jokes.
And if they haven't got older, they've just kind of everyone stayed at the same level.
Yeah.
And that interaction is still there naturally.
Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some members of the choir and how they have still very vibrant, really passionate about the project as well. What would you say was the key response when you, as the kind of the brainchild behind this, said, want to re-release the album, want to do something new? What was the initial kind of comments from people?
I think it was a mixture. Like my family, my siblings, because they've seen me carve out a career in the music industry.
Yeah. They
didn't even question it. They're like, "Don, it's you." Yes. So straight away I had 5, all with the last name Hepburn. And then the wider choir, the ones that I didn't really know so well, I think they kind of based it on, okay, it's Don. He works in music.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go along. And it was. I think the general response was that there was definitely anxiety there. There was the sort of what? Go into a studio, make a record. We did that like many years ago. But I think ultimately there was an urgency about the project, and there was an excitement linked to it. But over time, as we did the sessions, each time we came back, there was definitely an appetite and an excitement to sort of get back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, but for me again, when they started singing, I was just like, wow, it's there.
Flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just hearing it up close, coming at you through the speakers, it was like goosebumps, man.
I mean, with that, over time, people have got older, more mature, lives have changed. There must have been some challenges with all of that. I mean, it's easy to go, here's the idea, we did it 40 years ago, we're going to do it again, get in the studio. But I bet there were some speed bumps or humps in the road that kind of made you think about, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, a mixture of all of that. Yeah, I think the first notable thing was so after we did the first session, they loved it, and they were like, "Oh man, we're singing these songs again. It sounded great and whatever." But they it was in this very room actually. They said, "Don, we've had a brilliant time, but you need some chairs."
You're making a stand up?
I mean, that had never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
They were like, Don, it's great, but we're old. We're all like in our 60s. Like,
yeah.
Can you get some chairs, please?
I love that.
I mean,
it's obvious when you think about it.
Yeah. So I was like, Paddy, we need some chairs, man. He's like, cool, let's get some chairs. Up to IKEA, get a load of chairs. So the next time, in here was full of chairs, and it was like, okay, great, yeah, let's go. Do you know what I mean? And that was one of the things. The other main thing was that when they recorded back in '84, they just tracked. So it was a live concert that was captured on reel to reel.
Yeah.
And you only get one opportunity.
Of course, yeah.
So speaking with Tony Cummings, there was a couple of tracks that I won't name the person, but they didn't have the best performance on the night. Caught a cold or something, as the story goes. So there was a couple of tracks that couldn't be used. So they went into a recording studio and did 3 more tracks.
Okay.
But they just stood and sang in a room, and it was just captured that way and made to fit in with the other live stuff. So for them coming in here and putting headphones on and hearing themselves coming back so immediate, that was new. And it was it took a little bit of time to get used to it, because they're so used to hearing the next person stood right there. When you've got headphones on, there's a little bit of isolation. So they were kind of a little bit sort of reserved. So that took time just to let them feel relaxed and get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was the modern way of tracking. Now you do it in sections. So it was like, Don, we haven't sung a song all the way through yet. And I was like, I know, I just need a chorus. I need a verse. I need a bridge. I need an outro. Okay, on to the next song now.
Yeah.
So they were like, just coming around to the idea of how you record in a modern way.
Yeah.
But no, what I really admired about them was they were open to learning, and they allowed me to lead them, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, absolutely. I mean, you've kind of answered what I was thinking. How did you navigate from having that original sound? Because their sound will be their sound, but in very much a modern flavour. Because the band will be playing differently.
Yeah.
You're going to add some spice to, because of your own experience. How was that received?
So that was the main goal, because if you know Highgate, they were famously known for having a sound.
Yeah.
A vocal sound. And because of their prior training, which was distinctly evident on day one, so Pamela McIntyre was classically trained.
Okay.
So she added the classical element to the sort of Pentecostal sound. So they were used to like 6-part harmonies and things like that, which kind of formed their sound. And I was so determined to keep the integrity of their sound. I wasn't trying to, make them sound like Kurt Franklin or a Ty Tribbett choir or Hezekiah Walker even. It was capture that Highgate sound, the essence of what that sound is.
Yeah.
And then just build the music around it, which I think we've done. But just from a modern standpoint, I brought in some incredible vocal coaches, people like Sabrina McCullough, Patrick Linton, Dave Copeland, to come in and kind of just work with them from a technical perspective, which again was new to them, but they went with it, and they understood the theory aspect of coming in. We'd get in at sort of 9, have breakfast, then have a 45-minute warm-up session where there are various vocal exercises, and by 11 o'clock we were pressing record and they were ready and warmed up.
They weren't afraid to learn.
Nah, which was a great thing to witness, because sometimes with that demographic, they can be pushed back and, what are we doing? We're just going to get up and sing. But they understood the sort of studio, or they were open to understand the studio environment.
Yeah.
But that did bring some challenges as well, because, for instance, when we were, recording The Sopranos, I would be like, okay, so we're just going to work on The Sopranos. They're all sat in the room. Like, okay, we're going to record The Sopranos. People would be in their bags and, checking phones. And I'm like, guys, I know you all need to be quiet because these mics are picking up everything. So there was a couple of times mid-flow a take, you just, sorry,
Yeah.
Who's reaching in the bag, getting their keys? You know what I mean? It's like, let's cut, guys. You have to be quiet. You know. So we made light of it, and we got there, man.
And what would you say? You know, what do you think was their biggest learning in all of that?
I think the element of precision, diction,
Okay.
pronunciation, which Sabrina and Patrick and Dave were sticklers for. And I think the encouragement came when they came into the control room, heard it back. It's like, okay, we understand now.
I see why.
Yeah.
And you know, you had some of the original band members as well.
Yeah.
If not all of them, most of them.
Yeah. All of them actually. Yeah.
And how did they receive it?
I think, that was again. That's where I feel a little bit selfish because that was all for me. I was like, at least on one track, I need the original band.
Yeah.
And honestly, so We Are Not Ashamed. That's Junior Martin on drums, and to hear him, I'm like, that's Junior Martin on drums, man. It's all for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind telling you, I was like sat there with the cheesiest grin. I'm like, that's Junior Martin, man. That's my upbringing. That's what I listened to as a kid, or who I listened to as a kid. And now I have the privilege of being sat in the control room and he's tracking on my kit.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was such a moment. And when I spoke to them all about it, they were like, okay, Don. And they sounded great, Gladstone, Wilson on keys, who's one of the original songwriters as well. Patrick White on bass, Tony Bean on guitar, Junior Martin on drums.
Yeah.
Highgate band, man. Brilliant.
Beautiful. And actually, with all of that, credit to yourself for recognizing the input that these legacy individuals had, and they're still having today. Because some of these are, I think even the Patrick White, was he 15 at the time?
He was 15,
In a way, his age, but but one of the younger members of the band making his debut on bass, and today he's one of these guys who's so well respected because he's really refined his art and really making such good waves within the UK.
Yeah.
So beautiful, really, really good to hear. The album's been recorded's been released. What's been some of the feedback you've received?
It's been a mixture. Some people have like, wow, I think it's been a mixture. It's all been good. There's been a few, obviously everyone's entitled to opinion.
Sure.
And but generally it's like the thing that I keep hearing back is it sounds like Highgate, which for me is the biggest compliment because I wanted it to sound like Highgate because it is Highgate.
Yeah.
I think I didn't realize how far their reach was in terms of people who they've impacted. So, because it's sort of half a representation of the original album, and then the other half is other songs that they were sort of famously known for singing. So people have enjoyed hearing the other songs recorded. Jesus Is My Refuge, things like that. On Cloudy Days been a big fan favorite for people. It's mad since the album's come out. I've heard so many different versions because I was under the impression it was Amanda Summers' tune. She just did an arrangement of it, which is where the Highgate version came. But there's a country and western version of it. I was around my brother's the other day and he showed it me in the Redemption hymnal.
Okay.
I was like, they used to sing it in, I had no idea. Of course I wouldn't. So I took a picture of the actual hymnal book of On Cloudy Day, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's been received well. I mean, what do you think of it?
It's a great release. I think that there's such a mix of emotion that will be that people will get from hearing it. Some who would have been very young children, and even some of the older folk who would have been what we call the bigger people there, who are now the big people now. So yeah, I think you've done a really good job.
Thanks,
I think
man.
you've represented the choir. So the choir represented themselves really well. but the fact that you've been a facilitator in all of that, in a way, it could only have been you. When we think about, how you've, as it were, stepped back in time, kind of back to the future, right?
Yeah.
To bring this and actually demonstrate. So I think for a lot of people, this is an encouragement about, look at what we did and look at what you've been able to recreate. And actually give people maybe of a certain age a sense of, not only a sense of pride, but a sense of, hey, gosh, we can still do this.
Oh yeah.
Times may have changed, and you've seen how gospel music is very different. But there is still a, what I call a thread that runs through it in terms of great choirs.
Yeah.
And I think this is representative of that as well.
Oh, thanks, man.
So you should be very proud. You should be
Thank
very
you.
proud. So, are the choir going to be doing touring? The big question.
That is the $1 million question. In short, yes, we're working on some stuff. There's a few things in the pipeline. So stay tuned.
That'd be great. That would be great.
They're up for it.
Okay.
And they're asking me, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we're working on some stuff.
And what would you like people who are listening, maybe for the first time, to the Legacy project, what would you like them to take away from the recording?
Well, it's the good news of Jesus Christ at the end of the day. It's absolutely undiluted. That's my favorite thing about it. Like I was saying to somebody, I'm like, it's like scripture. It's Bible based.
Yeah.
All the lyrics, that it's not sort of wishy-washy in any way, or is it? Or it's, what it is,
Quite
man.
clear, yeah.
Yeah. And I think just what you just said there, the fact that, here's a group of seniors, if I can be diplomatic, that have taken the time to pause and do something great, even in their senior years. It's possible. You can teach an old dog new tricks.
It's brilliant. So there's probably multiple ways now in terms of being able to support, follow, and hear the music. Tell us about some of those.
In terms of what being able to.
People want to get hold of the album, have a listen to.
So it's out on all streaming platforms.
Okay.
We're looking into physical copies because that's been the thing.
Yeah.
People have gone, okay, the Spotify and but for us, we like CD. I'm like, do they still make CD players?
Yeah.
So people want it on physical, so we're looking into that. Vinyl.
I've seen, over the last few years, there's been this resurgence, in vinyl as well. And the whole thing, okay, let's show my age now. So I grew up in a time when I wanted to open the record.
Yeah.
And then you open the top, and inside you may have an inlay, and then you can look at who's
the credits.
The credits.
It's a whole thing.
It's the whole, read it through, pictures in there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's money again, but that whole experience of being able to, it was a journey. It was so less disposable. Whereas now, you hear one album, you move on to the next one. But,
so I've actually got a room at home, and I was gifted a vinyl player for Christmas last year. And honestly, I've only recently got it all set up, and I spent sort of the last couple of days just in that, I call it my den.
Yeah.
Doing exactly that. And honestly, it was some of the most amazing time.
Yeah.
Because I would literally sit there, put the record on, put the needle on it.
Yeah.
And that sort of crackle you get. Brilliant.
So then it kicks in.
And I was listening to everything from like Ray Charles to Toto to Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. It was just incredible. But doing exactly that, reading them. Oh, it was recorded here. And oh wow, I've driven past that place in LA or whatever. And it's been brilliant. So maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure
Thanks,
just
Tim.
hearing some of those stories. I'm sure we could talk for more.
We could.
And I'm sure there'll be more to talk about in the future.
There will.
As we follow the journey of the Highgate Gospel Choir, the Legacy Project. Donovan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching the content we're putting out. Listen, make sure that you are liking, subscribing and following us on all our social channels, including patreon.com. Make sure you're finding us on there to support what we do so we can support you. And remember guys, be extra.